Okay, if you like what the UK Column does, you would like to support us, the place to go is support.ukcolumn.org. There are various options to help us out there. We do need your help and your financial support. It's what keeps us going. And again, thank you to everybody that is helping us with that. But have a look at that and see if you can help. Otherwise, find something from ukcolumn.org and ukcolumnextracts.co.uk and promote it because we are censored and we do need you to be the algorithm. Now, Debbie talking about vaccines again today. We've been playing with YouTube recently again to see just what the limitations are on YouTube. If it wasn't for the fact that Wednesday's program had already been caused a strike and we therefore are not allowed to live stream on YouTube again for another 2 weeks, today's program definitely would have done it. So Debbie, well done there. We'll keep people posted on this situation in the coming days and weeks. You can help by picking something up at the UK Column shop. That would be very helpful as well. There's plenty to have a look at there and more items coming. But if you haven't got to pick a copy of Your Life in Their Hands, please do grab one. And for all the people overseas that are dying to get a copy of this, we have found a solution to this. And so from, I believe, the 1st of November, the shop will be going international once again. And everybody overseas will be able to pick something up from there. So we will keep you posted on that. Charles' interview with Claire Wills-Harrison, otherwise known as Lures for Light on Telegram, is up on the UK Column website. If you haven't seen this, it is fantastic. Have a look at that. Brian is premiering another episode of Walking the Dog on YouTube and his YouTube channel at 11 a.m. Because this is relatively uncontroversial, I believe he still is able to premiere on YouTube on his channel. Although I do believe he's had one strike so far on there, but we'll keep you posted on that too. But keep an eye out for that on Sunday morning, and then on Sunday evening we are hosting live streaming for International Centre for 9/11 Justice, a symposium called Aviation Impossibilities: Deconstructing the Official Story of the 9/11 Hijackings and Air Defence Failures. Ted Walter, Olivier Caron-Masson, Aidan Monaghan and Kevin Ryan speaking at that. It'll be hosted by Piers Robinson. So join us for that, 6 p.m. UK time on Sunday. Don't forget, 19th of October, the UK Column on Location conference taking place in Bristol. Tickets still available for that. Join us for that if you possibly can. And Brian and I will be speaking at the Heritage Party conference on the 28th of September in Reading. And if anybody's interested in that, the details at heritageparty.org. So where does that take us then? It takes us to prisons. And this amazing article, I've chosen Sky News, but it was all over the mainstream press this morning. Offenders could serve sentence in Estonian prisons to ease overcrowding. So the Labour regime in this country talking about sending prisoners overseas because the prison system here completely overcrowded. Sky News here saying the government is not ruling out sending offenders to Estonia as a means of alleviating severe overcrowding in UK prison estate. Sky News understands that having offenders serve out their sentence in the Baltic state is one of the many options being considered to address overcrowding on the prison estate. And the latest government figures showing there are only 1,098 free spaces in prisons across England and Wales. So here is Labour's Boris Johnson, Angela Eagle, saying the new Labour government has inherited an absolute crisis in our prison system with very few places remaining there. I think that colleagues in the Ministry of Justice will be considering anything that they can to alleviate the problem. What we cannot have is people who are convicted of perhaps violent or serious crimes not being able to be in jail. So that's what Angela Eagle had to say. She, of course, is the Home Office Minister. I should say Dame Angela Eagle, perhaps. But I just want to remind you of this piece of legislation from the previous regime. This is the Tory government's criminal justice bill. And this was from 2023. It didn't go through in time before the general election. But let's just highlight a couple of aspects of this. First of all, they were determined that they were going to make sentences longer for the most dangerous criminals, including by making rapists serve every day of their sentence behind bars. Well, as we know, at the moment, the UK government is busy emptying the prisons in order to make room for those nasty far-righters that are complaining about immigration and so on social media and whatnot. But the Times here carrying an article headlined "Risky Offenders Will Go Free" when warns prisons. Watchdog, almost 2,000 inmates will be released next week amid concerns about housing and possibility of reoffending. So he's talking about risky offenders. That doesn't seem to fit with the policy expressed in that previous legislation. But let's bring that back on screen, because the other part that I want to highlight was that legislation was designed to, amongst other things, establish powers to transfer prisoners in and out of England and Wales to serve their sentences abroad. In other words, the UK has no such power at this point in time. And so without legislation, it becomes very unclear how the UK regime could export prisoners to Estonia until legislation goes through. So I'm going to suggest that the coverage of that in the mainstream media is a bit of fake news at this stage, in the sense that it is designed to encourage a response from the public. They are pushing those headlines out in the mainstream press to see what kind of response they see across social media and so on. And they will then decide whether to include that in any upcoming legislation that they have on this. But in the meantime, more people being sentenced every week as a result of the recent so-called violent protest and the beginning of the release of prisoners in order to make space